Hello everyone, my name is Nicole Castañeda and today I'm going to talk about the analysis of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, chapters 7 and 8. So without any more preambles, let's do it. So, as you can see on your screen, the name of this chapter is Incident at the Window, and this map is divided in 4 different parts. The first part that I'm going to talk about is characters. In this chapter, we have 3 main characters. The first one is Mr. Utterson. He is a friend of Dr. Jekyll, and he is a bachelor lawyer that decides to investigate a little bit of Mr. Hyde. So, the next one is Mr. Infield. He is the kinsman of Mr. Utterson, and he only appeared a few times in all the books, but we can realize that he is very curious and he didn't trust in Mr. Hyde at all. And the final is Jekyll. We can see that Dr. Jekyll is a very good friend and he is very healthy. But the problem in this chapter is that we can see his bad appearance, he looks so weak and he looks so pallid, and his behavior changed radically because now he is so alert and he didn't get out of his house. He was so scared of something or someone. The next part is the plot. The plot of this chapter starts when Mr. Utterson and Mr. Enfield are walking on the street. In a moment, they appear in front of Dr. Jekyll's house. Then they decide to talk with him, but he didn't give them the permit to enter to the house. So they start to talk with a window in the middle. They are on the garden and Jekyll is in the house. After that, the behavior of Dr. Jekyll changed radically, and we can see that in his eyes, because his eyes changed in a very dangerous way. He decided to close the window because he is so scared of himself, and Mr. Utterson and Mr. Enfield run away. The last 2 parts are divided in analysis and main details. So, as you can see, the story is very simple because the chapter is too short, and we can break it in 3 important parts. The first one is when Mr. Utterson and Mr. Enfield decide to talk with Mr. Jekyll. Where the second one is when Dr. Jekyll refused the idea to enter to the house and decided to attack with a window in the middle. And the other one is when Dr. Jekyll changed his behavior and Utterson and Enfield ran away. So, the main idea are the mystery. We can see a lot of mystery in this chapter. It doesn't matter that the chapter is very short. The mystery is always there, and we can see that the author didn't give us clues for the final. Now I'm going to talk about chapter number 8. In this chapter, we can see the same structure in the map, but now the name of the chapter is The Last Night. So I'm gonna start with the characters. As you can see, Utterson appears again in this chapter, but now he is so afraid of the things that live in the laboratory. The next one is Poole. Poole is the servant of Dr. Jekyll. He is so loyal, but now he is so afraid of Mr. Hyde. And finally, Mr. Hyde is the opposite of Dr. Jekyll. He is so repugnant and he is a bad person. He is the murderer of Carrie, and some chapters ago he disappeared. In this chapter, the plot starts when Poole visits Utterson and he convinces him to enter Jekyll's lab. When they arrive to the house, all the servants are in panic. They are scared of the man in the room. Then Poole announced the arrival of Utterson, but a strange voice refused the guest. So they decide to force the door and enter in the lab, and then they found the body of Mr. Hyde on the floor. Some minutes later, they found a Jekyll's note, and there he said that all the truth was in the letter that Leon gave Mr. Utterson after die. Now I'm going to talk about the analysis and the main ideas and details that this chapter has. First of all, the story of this chapter is darker than the last one, because the intention of the author here was to give us clues in order to understand the final of the book, or maybe to create our own final. Even the author gave us a lot of clues. For example, the behavior of Mr. Utterson, because at the beginning he was so afraid, but when Paul talked to him, he felt so brave. Other clue is the lion's letter, because Jekyll knew about it. And the final clue is the body of Mr. Hyde, because his key was broken on the floor and Dr. Jekyll was disappeared, and no one knows why Mr. Hyde was in the house. Well, for me, and in my personal opinion, I think that the final will be very chaotic for all the characters, because chapters 7 and 8 give us a different view of all the situation that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde were living in that moment, and all the things that they feel. Also, I think that the final will be very dramatic because of the death of Mr. Hyde and the disappearance of Dr. Jekyll. I don't understand why those things happened, but I know that the author have a lot of imagination to create a very good final. In the other hand, I don't trust in Mr. Utterson because, well, I know that Mr. Hyde is the villain of this story, but I think that Mr. Utterson did all those things not for the friendship that he had with Dr. Jekyll. He did all those things for his own benefit, for participate in the will of Dr. Jekyll.